Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that gives you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so guys, if you are new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button, also that notification icon, so you can get my daily uploads. Alright, so guys, I have basically shown you about 6 different formations, 5 formations out of the New Orleans Saints playbook that I'm going to be running that are not the meta formations. So if you do run New Orleans, these are a couple ways just to run your formations. Now, when I come out and I create a playbook, or I come out, I create myself a game plan. So this is going to be how I'm going to attack certain coverages, what type of plays I'm going to use. It's going to be a game plan. And not always does your game plan work out the way that you expected. So I'm basically going to go ahead and share with you 3 plays that I pretty much scrapped from this New Orleans Saints playbook series that I just dropped out of my play calling just because they were not as effective as I wanted them to be, and I didn't get a lot of first downs with it. So, and the first play we're going to take a look at is going to be one of our base audibles. I left this in primarily because it was a base audible and it made it very easy for me not to switch this out, but it is a play action boot left. This particular play on paper looks like a good play, but the problem with this particular play is that sometimes you'll need to throw this deep post route, and I've on numerous occasions, labbing a little bit later on and whatnot, I found myself that I couldn't get that deep post route just because it was just kind of skinny, and I got myself in a lot of trouble with it because sometimes people will be in a cover 3, they show 2 at first, and then that deep post route won't be open. Now, right here, it is open, but I can guarantee you, based on my gameplay, this particular play didn't work out as well as I wanted it to be. So this is actually going to be a play that I'm going to actually get out of. Another thing too is that basically you had 2 wide receivers in one area. You've got that one area which is going to be the fullback, and then you have the crossing route over by the other guy. And sometimes you just, there was one defender in there that would take away 2 different areas, and I also would have to wait for the tight end to get past the defender. So it would appear that that particular area was taken away. So this is a play that I'm going to dump out of the playbook. I'm going to go ahead and replace it with another play, which is going to be the deep play action deep post. So it's essentially the same type of a setup, but now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hot route my tight end any direction I want him to go. So I can have him going to the flat, I can have him doing a drag, I actually have him on a slant route, and that actually is just pretty much the same type of a concept, but the advantage of this particular play, at the difference between that post route and the set one. The post route here breaks at about 15 yards depth. This particular post route, it breaks at about 10 yards. So it just gets a faster break, and what makes that a little bit better is that you should be able to get inside the coverage a little bit easier with that particular play. So let's go and see if we can hit it one more time. And we're going to do a back pass lead. And usually you won't get tied up in that safety, just because it just gives you a little bit more confidence to be able to hit that deep post, and sometimes you need that. And on top of it, you also got an underneath route with the running back, which is not a very usual route. As you can see, it falls right there. I get blitzed by multiple people, but let's see if we can try that again. So you can make your progressions, and then you can dump it down to the running back to go ahead and pick up the ball on the backside, especially if he takes his user out of the area. So a lot of people like to use their middle linebacker. So if you're rolling out, you've got that running back that you can drop it down to the left. So I'm going against the CPU, so it's not going to play like a person on line. Let's see if we can get that. So you can see I could dump that off. That I could roll off to the left and actually dump it back off to the running back, because that's actually going to provide me more blocking. So that's just another thing that you got to think about when you're running these type of plays. Let's see here. So able to go ahead and get a nice little move by the running back. So let's go ahead and jump into the second play of a play that I dumped out of the series. And now another play that I thought on paper and in the past worked really good is out of the gun Y off trio weak, and I was really excited about using the stick and up. This particular play I thought was great because you have that out and up stick route, which is really cool. But the problem I saw with this particular play is that the way the routes complement each other, they don't necessarily, the timing with the routes are not the best. and as the result, it just wasn't the best. Now, so the most important thing to me is consistency. Basically, having your wide receivers run the routes correctly. But what I would see is that sometimes the tight end wouldn't run this route consistent, where I couldn't anticipate a route. Sometimes he would actually get blocked off the line and then he'd run in the inside. Other times he would actually he wouldn't run the route correctly. So it was very, very frustrating with me because I couldn't get rid of the ball correctly. And then on top of it, you have this base little whip route that I could check the ball down to, but it usually would fall into another area because that running back route, that block and release on the back end side, would fall right into his route. So one of the adjustments I was actually doing is doing a block and release to get him a little bit more flatter, just so I can get that crossing route around. But the crossing route takes that little whip route takes such a long time to develop that it just wasn't working for me. So the hill route was not good, and this route actually was not good, and then this route on the back end side was generally money for the most part. But by the time it took for that play to develop to the other side, I was getting block sheds and I was actually getting sacked. So this is a play that I ran a couple times and I just had to dump it right away because I could rarely get this opportunity to hit this play off the left hand side because I was always getting block sheds. So what I did is I made the following adjustments. This is one of my base audibles that I was using this play with, and it was going to be the Saint curl. So what I did with Saints curl, I actually replaced that with one of the base plays I'd actually call, which is going to be the Saints out. And then actually what I would do is a base play, I would go back to Old Faithful, which would be corner strike. And what I would do is that if I had off coverage, I would jump in the Saints out and make two quick adjustments, and it'd give me a levels concept. And I'd either go high-low with the Saints out, or I would stay with corner or with corner strike, and I make the following adjustments. I would go ahead, streak up my tight end, and actually do a drag with Thomas, and I'd watch my progressions off to the right, left. If I had a man read, I can hit the circle out of the back and side. I got levels on the other side. So this replaced that one play, which was a sticking up. It just wasn't that good of a play, so I actually turned this into more of a money play. And I know that this is kind of a popular thing that some players use, but you've got basically different areas that you can hit your opponent with, and then in particular, this is something you can catch your opponent off on the back end side, is that deep dig route. It's very money to be able to hit that. So let's go ahead and take a look at another play that we actually dumped from this game. Now the other play that I had as one of my base audibles was this play, which is the Saints Y under, and a play that I actually would call out of the huddle, which would be clear out pivot. And I didn't like the clear out pivot primarily because when you're playing Madden Ultimate Team and you're playing these God squads that are 93s, 94s, and they got guys that have 94 zone coverage, they actually make a lot of difference. Those deep dig routes are not as effective against his people. And coincidentally, this particular play, which was one of my base audibles, was the Saints Y under, and it wasn't a very effective play either. And the reason why, more than anything else, is that the running back route would never come off clean, and a lot of times I'd actually have some defender in the area, or I'd be getting block shed. Another route that I really was looking towards is Thomas's route, and this is what I basically built the whole scheme around. But the problem is that that particular route, it just took such a long time to develop, and I'll just keep showing you. What's going to happen is that there's going to be some block sheds for me to be able to get this route developed, and a lot of times what's going to happen is that the defenders are going to be in the area. So I could catch someone off guard with this particular play, but I just couldn't get the ball off quick enough for that big route to develop, and it's a good route to use against an opponent that was using a lot of like cover 2 with a deep blue. Was a really good play to go ahead and use, but that route takes a long time to develop to be able to get in that spot, and unfortunately I just couldn't let the play to develop. So it was one of those plays you just have to give up just because of what's the meta on defense. It's just not a very good play to go ahead and use. So really what I did is I went ahead and focused on a couple of the other plays that I like to use, which would be the play action read. It's another base play I'd use. Opposed to that would be the Saints mesh, and then I started using sail too, because that actually gave me kind of a high-low look attack. I'd be able to attack my opponent. So guys, once again, you can go in and actually create yourself some kind of scheme. and you have to make adjustments. And after playing about 6 or 7 games online, there were certain plays I had to dump and plays I had to replace it with. So I'll be coming out with my top 5 plays out of the New Orleans Saints playbook breakdown that I did for you guys, just to kind of give you an idea of what my favorite plays were that to use in a scheme. Once again, to my subscribers, thanks for support. Make sure you hit that like button, and until next time.